We've all seen it. Cruising has definitely changed over the last few years, with some things getting much better and other things getting worse. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now let's face it, we can all get a little bit gripey as things change, as things evolve, especially if some of the things that change, well, were actually things that we really like. And of course, I am talking about cruising. But something that I thought of is there really are so many positives when it comes to cruising. So I did ask on Facebook in the LifeWell Cruise community, I asked, what are the things that have changed in cruising in the last few years that you think are really good changes? And I had some amazing answers that I wanted to share with you. Now, I did also have a few things that people thought were actually getting worse, and I am going to share a few of those too. Now, before I get started, I did want to mention that if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. So number one thing that is actually changing and getting better on cruising, cruisers say, is the more flexible dining options. So that includes a few different things. So people said that one of the nice things about cruising now is the fact that the dining time, you have a choice between a more traditional dining for those that really like to be able to eat at the same time every evening with the same waiters, but you also have options to eat at flexible dining. And this has really evolved over the last few years. It used to be difficult to get a table for two. Now this is much easier. And beyond the main dining room, there are different dining choices. So there are specialty restaurants, some that have an extra charge, and other alternative dining options that are included. And you have everything from those fancier restaurants to those really casual options. Now, special mention does go out to Virgin Voyages. That does have all of their restaurants, all of the really nicest specialty restaurants, the casual options, all included in their fare for their cruise. Now, I haven't had an opportunity to sail yet with Virgin, but if you have sailed with Virgin or if you're thinking of it, please let me know down in the comments below. Number two, now I think we can all agree on this one, the embarkation process, so much better, so much easier now for a variety of reasons. So firstly, it really is much faster. Now, a lot of things that people say is based on some of the changes that happened after the restart, that they really like a couple of things. One of those things is actually the check-in times, like those appointment times. The crowds that we used to have on embarkation day, they really just don't exist in the same way anymore. And of course, the other thing that a lot of people really like is that most cruise lines are using some form of e-muster and safety briefing rather than that traditional muster drill that we've all endured for years. Number three, the use of technology on board. Now, this can be a bit of a double-edged sword, but let's start with the positives. So first of all, we have the cruise line apps. It really does make it so much easier for those that want to see the different activities on their phone. You can do this. You can, of course, check in using the technology that they have available now. That makes it, of course, much faster to actually board and do the embarkation process. Now, a lot of people also mentioned the facial recognition technology and how that is really just streamlining things and making things easier and faster. Now, something else that's also good in terms of cabins is cruise lines, as they're building newer ships, they are putting in USBs into their new cabins. And when cruise lines are renovating their ships, they're also putting in USBs, which of course is kind of keeping up with the times and what cruise passengers need. And speaking of technology and cruise line apps, one of the features that a lot of people said they really loved is the chat feature on many of the cruise line apps. Now, sometimes the chat feature is free on a lot of cruise lines, and on other cruise lines, there is a small nominal fee. Now, when it comes to technology, we do have a special mention to Princess Cruises. That has, of course, the Ocean Medallion technology. So not only does the medallion help to open the door for you so you can kind of go hands-free as you do go over to the door, but it does have so many different features, including ordering room service from your cabin or from your phone and having the crew actually find you. And one of my favorite features, find your shipmates, so you can never lose the friends or family that you came on board with. Number four, less tendering and more docking at the cruise ports of call. Now, this is a really practical one, but I do remember when I first started to cruise about 20 years ago, we tendered in at a lot of different cruise ports, including the private islands. And now a lot of that is really changed. And of course, by docking and not tendering, it makes it so much easier to get off the cruise ship. There's so much less organizing. And of course, it's also so much more convenient to come and go as you please. Now, I'm curious, when it comes to booking your cruise and choosing your itinerary, do you take a look to see if you're going to be tendering or not? And does that factor in at all in your decision? Please let me know down in the comments below. Number 5, the cleanliness of the cruise ships. Now, they were always clean, but now a lot of people said they love the hand washing stations that are outside many of the buffets on many cruise ships. Number 6, more relaxed cruise line dress codes. Now, I know this one is always a little bit controversial because people really do love that tradition of dressing up and the formal nights, and that definitely is something that does still happen on cruise ships. However, there's no denying that things have become more casual, and a lot of people are appreciating that. A lot of people are appreciating the fact that things are just becoming a little bit more relaxed. There are some people that when it comes to packing, they find packing that formal clothing or even clothing that's just very dressy, well, that's not necessarily how they want to dress when they are on vacation. And other people just felt a lot of pressure, and they're much more comfortable still being able to look nice, but also to dress just a little bit more comfortably. Now, I have one more change that is good for cruising, and then we'll go on to some things that are like worse. So number 7 is the options for more all-inclusive cruising and the beverage packages that are available. So yes, a lot of people said they love the idea that they can go on a cruise and have almost an all-inclusive experience by choosing to get some different perks that basically they can pay up front for those, but that they don't have to worry about that big bill at the end of the cruise. And of course, some of those options include the beverage package for alcohol and for coffee, for instance. Also, sometimes the crew gratuities, and as well, sometimes it's the internet, or it can be shore excursion credits. There are a variety of things, but people are really enjoying having these options that they can pay a bit of a higher price, but they can have less of that big bill at the end of their cruise. And of course, the wide variety of beverage packages. So while we've had soda packages available for years and even coffee packages, over the last few years, we have the different alcoholic beverage packages, from the basic alcohol package to one that includes top shelf liqueurs. Now, those are the things that are much better on cruises now than they were a few years ago. But now let's get into a few things that some people thought were worse now than they were a few years ago. So 3 things that are worse than they were years ago. So one is the fact that many ships are really larger, mega, and I guess we could call them ultra mega ships now. Now, some people love them, but other people said these are worse. They like the idea of cruising on smaller or those mid-size cruise ships. And the reality is that most of those popular cruise lines are building their cruise ships bigger and bigger. Number 2, I think I mentioned that this one was a little bit of a double-edged sword, but too much technology. Yes, some people said they don't like to have to use their phone on vacation. They don't even like all of the internet on cruise ships. They wish things had kind of a little bit less technology. Now, I must say, when it comes to this one, I just don't think there's any way that we can go backwards. That's the way life is going. We have more technology in our regular lives, our everyday lives, and I do think it just makes sense that this is going to be happening on cruise ships. And number 3, the extra charge items. Yes, a lot of people say that this just has gotten worse, whether there are fees for certain activities on cruise ships, fees for some of the specialty dining restaurants, fees for room service and extra charges for room service on certain cruise lines. Well, there are a lot of people that say that is something that is worse when it comes to cruising now. Now, personally, I still think that all of the positive changes absolutely outweigh any of the negatives, but I would really like to hear what you think. Please let me know down in the comments below. What do you think is actually better on cruises right now? And at the same time, should we make another video with things that are worse? Let me know down in the comments below. Now, if you did enjoy this video, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now, and happy cruising.